We're very grateful to have Bill Rutledge with us today from the Republic, and also Paul Rodriguez, the Colorado senator from the Republic. He's kind of in and out. His internet seems to be acting up. That's probably because the state is a mixed state, and maybe the bad guys are messing with the cables. Well, I operate on Starlink, so I don't have to worry about the Yemenis blowing up the pipes under the ocean and disrupting the internet. But we're from the Republican. We're just trying to get people. Let me put up the caption while I'm thinking about it. If I can, there we go. To alert people to the idea that we are rapidly coming into the republic, and President Trump mentions it a lot. And I mean, I'm seeing like ocean changes, like tidal changes, like colossal tsunamis of change in Iran and Israel. Is just being associated with the Jewish community. It's the idea that this perpetual war that's been going on and plaguing people for a very long time is being eradicated, is gone, is basically, at least at the root. They may still be sending missiles in, but at the root, the cause, the foundation of this never ending conflict, which is the fruits of the deep state planting. This is what the deep state wants. They want us to be fighting forever. They want us to live in an unstable realm so that they can traffic their children and do all the illicit things, steal our money, disrupt our health. You look a lot better, Paul, now.
So I'm on my phone. My laptop's crappy. So am I okay now?
Yeah, you look great now. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm what I'm feeling is that things are moving really fast. And I just want to remind everyone that the White Hats had contacted people of the Republic and told them that when they can get 30,000 people per state to join up, and there's the information below, republicforusa.org. When they get 30,000 people per state to join up and they get all the re-inhabit or inhabit the offices of each state. Like, for example, Paul is a Colorado senator. When they get all 8 positions filled in and they get all the re-inhabit or inhabit the somebody. Yeah, I guess the deep state is playing with my feed. But anyway, when this occurs, when enough people have joined the Republic, the White Hats will step in and help us create an environment for an election. We will be the kind of transition government while the election is taking place, and then we will elect a new republic, the offices of the new republic, and we'll go straight into Jassara law with 10% of the government that we have now. All the parasites, all the bureaucrats will be probably kicking back and collecting their guaranteed income, and while AI takes care of the little things, and we members of the Republic can legislate and help our world grow from a more localized standpoint. So I think that's kind of like an encapsulation, at least in my mind, of what's going on. We're heading for the promised land, which is the elections. The deep state is being defeated as we speak. President Trump and the White House are doing an amazing job. And specifically, we want to reach out to veterans, because you have, sworn an oath to the Constitution, and this is a constitutional republic that we are re-inhabiting, and we want to feel. I want all veterans. I have tremendous respect. I'm not a veteran myself. My father was, but I just have tremendous respect for those who served and were willing to pay a very big price for their service. So maybe you guys can, Bill and Paul, you want to jump in and just flesh this whole scene out, where you see things going right now.
Well, sure. First of all, I'd like to again thank you, Elliot, for hosting us on your podcast and helping put the word out. All of us that are involved in the Republic, we're just like everyday normal citizens of this country, people of this country who found it, got to a point where we felt we needed to be involved in something greater than us, because the direction that we saw, witnessed in our own ways, was not the direction we thought it should be going, or what the intended direction was, for that our forefathers had, put in place for us. I want to share. I've been doing a little bit of paperwork and research on different things, and I just encourage those in your audience that are listening today live or would be listening to it later, that we don't know what we don't know. That it's through our own individual research, discernment, prayer, that we're all trying to work towards. I think ultimately is the truth of things. I think most people would rather live in a reality of truth than a reality of lies. And we know that this world is full of lots of secrets and things of that nature. And that's kind of one of the words for me personally that I kind of choke on a little bit, is secrets, because as I've shared with others before, is that secrets beget lies. Lies are the results of different agendas that are being played out, and people trying to not share truth, but to try to manipulate and get their agenda's way, in such a case that we're sucked into it, and might be that we don't even know we're going into it. So most folks, I think, probably, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, the idea that in a point in time in history, after our forefathers began this endeavor in creating this country, we came upon the Civil War. We came about, and money has always played a part in this. So when, he says, follow the money, the root of all evil is money, that kind of stuff, because people try to take that and then control, and those who have, and those who don't, and they can influence them. So at some point in time, we had this conflict. And of course, once that transpired, you saw representatives of those states who had been in the Congress. All of a sudden, the separation takes place. Well, they're vacating, and they're not there anymore. So you don't have the quorum and things of that nature in order to govern that you need to have. And so Lincoln had to do his thing and get, in order for the government to try to rectify the situation that was at hand with the separation and the division of this country. And of course, the war itself, well, you have to have money for all the bullets and beans and all the rest of the stuff on either side. And so, you enters the bankers. The bankers have been there all along, but the bankers get involved in funding everything, and they want their profit margins and things of that nature. So what you had is, Lincoln doing one thing and trying to make it work. And then, of course, I'm sure his intention was to get back to the traditional republic, but his life was cut short. And then therefore the other things happened. Well, then you had the corporation, as I understand it, there was always a very small corporate part of the government, and that was for the administration of contracts and doing things of that kind of, the trading in money and do those kinds of things. But what transpired after the war is that it grew from something small into the elephant, and then that's the District of Columbia took that on, and the whole thing just kept going. So what you end up having is ultimately I try to sometimes share in analogies or things that, so people can see things. It's like, here we're going along this railroad track in this train with all these seats of all the congressmen, and there comes this Y in the road and the tracks, and situations happen where people vacate, and part of them go this way and part of them go that way. And and then after the war was over, this line stopped because they were defeated, if you will. Well, we were already on this track, and so they kept going in the corporate structure. And then in order to make this work, all the states had to be incorporated, all the municipalities, the counties, municipalities, and townships, they had to be incorporated too in order for them to trade and contract and do all those kinds of dynamics. Okay, so there's this corporate structure, if you will. I want to read something and share also, and please pop in anytime to interrupt me if you need. For all those watching, if you're really interested in doing a deep dive and really getting into what transpired, you need to go back and study some history. Well, this book, Re-Inhabited, I know it's probably popping up kind of backwards, okay? It's by Gene Hertler and David Hertler. And they can be found online. You can purchase those and read them. There's 3 volumes, actually, two originals and a third one. Very, very good information to give you an understanding. There's lots of it there. And all of us in the Republic who are in positions such as Paul and I am and others, we had to read this particular book for sure and understand this along with the others. But in here, they reference, for example, from what I was saying, it says in 1901, this Supreme Court Justice Marshall Harlan's opinion in Downs versus Bidwell. And it reads like this. It says, quote, 2 national governments exist. One to be maintained under the Constitution de jure, which is original, with all its restrictions. The other to be maintained by Congress outside and independently of that instrument. And that's de facto. That's the de facto corporation, if you will. Okay. And it says, he says in here, says, another historical fact in law ascertained was that the United States became a corporation in 1871. And a new constitution for the corporation was set up. The de facto corporation was set up to control the flow of finances and then the people through social security cards and birth certificates. Again, a bit of information that kind of substantiates, where our belief is in regards to what's going on. We all know that there are so many things that are manipulated and disguised in half-truths. And therein lies our challenges. We're basically, I think as a species, we want to be trusting and believe that people are not going to lie to us or deceive us in any fashion or form. But the reality is that the evil in this world is, and the ego of people, their weaknesses and things, they've allowed themselves to be deceived. They've intentionally chosen to go along certain tracks of life and behaviors, such that you now have to really, question everything. You just can't let anything kind of slide. And, what you're seeing out in the world or being presented through your visual senses and what you're hearing, you have to question that too, because is this all a show? Is this to channel us, to route us and shoo us in this direction? And we know that, for my sake, former military, in conflicts and things of that nature, the success of missions often is very use of deception. Get the folks thinking one way and that this is going to happen and deceive them in this fashion, and then show up somewhere else when they weren't even thinking about it. They didn't even cross their mind, and you accomplish your objectives, one after another. So you keep them guessing, hopping back and forth. And I think that's evident in many cases as to what folks thought and what information that was put out in regards to Venezuela happened, and bingo. And we don't know. Most of us don't know exactly the degree and the magnitude of the different technologies that this country possesses. that has not been shown before in order to manipulate situations and whatnot. So when you hear various individuals like the Secretary of State Rubio or Pete Hexas, the Department of War Secretary, say various things about, weapons systems and strength and whatnot, as well as the Joint Chiefs of Staff, so then, you better take credence that they wouldn't be saying things, I don't think, if they didn't have the confidence in that we do have unique capabilities that others do not have, possibly. And so those are just a few things that I wanted to share. Let Paul jump in or someone else, and then we can build upon some of the things. I just wanted to share those to start off anyway. So.
Nope. Thank you. My thinking is this plan has been going on for a long time. I think the Massini the Pike letter to Massini was an indication of how long they've known about this plan. I think what put a stop to it is their little toys got taken away, and we started using technology that allowed us to advance in this fight and to put a stop to their one world government. If Clinton would have got in, that's the direction we would have been heading in. We wouldn't be talking right now. We'd be talking to each other in these camps they set up, these FEMA camps they set up for us, saying, how do we get out of here? But yeah, we've been deceived. All of us have been deceived for all our lives. And I think I told you, Eli or Ellie, that I didn't really know anything much about the government when I joined here. And now here I find myself doing so many different things to help this republic and stepping in where I can. And I've learned a lot about the republic. I've learned about our truth from these books. And you're not going to find those in any history books in high school. You're not going to find anything about the Organic Act of 1871 anywhere. And that's why when you tell people, they just look at you like, what? We're a corporation? It confuses them. But we have to get people to the truth. And I think that's what everybody really wants. We want the truth. We've been bombarded in the last couple of years with misinformation, disinformation, information. Our heads are so screwed up right now. And I think that's by design. But we have to get the truth out. And so, some of the things that we've talked about in the past are, we are under military control right now. And if your audience wants to do some further research on that, the Derek Johnson site, the documents.info site will give you all the information that you need to understand how all this is playing out. And his book, what was that book?
Yeah, this is the Midnight Rider. This is the first one.
Yep.
So he has two of these, and he directly goes into another topic that we within the Republic, our leadership is talking about, and the veterans group is exploring. We may share this later a little more, maybe so just a little bit today, is the Law of War manual that's in place. And again, it's another document, military, that you need to study and look at, but it's relevant. It is in play, and it does go to addressing during wartime how the engagements and the behaviors, things are to progress in a way that's as human as it can be in regards to a conflict when you're talking about war, but certain honorable things, and you don't just do certain things, and certain things can be brought up before courts in order to say that was extreme, that was not what our guidelines are of humane treatment of prisoners and other things of that nature. And so that is a good resource to again check out and read. Paul, do you have something else you want to cover?
Yeah, my phone's kind of dying, so I had to put it on the charger here. So I apologize, but I'm be staring down into the screen here. Yeah, so we're part of this. We're part of this operation. This is my own perspective. We fall under what they call a COG, the Continuity of Government Operation, And I think where we are right now is I think I agree with Ellie that we're getting closer and closer every day to where we want to be. I mean, we're hearing more and more about the 10 days of lockdown. It's being pushed on more sites. So I think we're getting closer in that area. But you know, we do need electors to join us in this fight. And a lot of us will tell you that we've been moved by our higher power. We've been pushed to do what we're doing. And there's so many people with so many different talents. Even like Ellie, you as a podcaster, man, hats off to you for what you've done and what you've accomplished over 9 years. I think you told me you've been doing this. But we need you guys to, if you're feeling moved, to join the Republic. We're displaying it down below. If you feel like you want to be in a leadership role, there's a lot of training we have to learn how the Republic works. But we need leaders and we need people that want to step up. A lot of our seats have already been filled that we have, but we do have some states that need people. But electors is really what we're after. So especially our military guys, we have colonels, we have lieutenant colonels joining us. We actually had a military vet join us recently. He's a surgeon. So we have some really high talented military people joining us right now. And I think what a lot of them are, they're afraid of the ramifications of joining an organization like this because they think it's against, the government. Well, it's all depends on how you look at that government, and when you understand about this cabal government, you really start to understand that you were on the wrong side of that, and you were really under the thumb of our bankers of this world, and now here's your chance to come under the true republic and fight these people, and that's what we're about. We're about re-inhabiting this republic, and the core of the work has already been done. In 2010, we already did everything we had to do to get this this government recognized. And so all we're doing right now is we're holding up the fort until the 10 days comes or NESARA happens. And I'm sure we're all hearing NESARA more and more and more. I think there was something recently on a government site, 12 USC code 531, I believe. No taxes on income was posted March 3rd. So we're starting to see remnants of it creep in, and we know it's right around the corner. So we're going to do as much as we can do, and when the military calls us up, we're going to be ready to stand up. So I appreciate if you guys join in and help the fight.
There was a question before about which states are needing representation. Do you guys know which states are?
I don't. I've been actually asking for that. I'll have it for our next podcast. I think that would be good to try to focus on those states that need help. Yeah. And yeah, your audience, if you know relatives in other states, all you got to do is get the word out, and it takes somebody less than 5 minutes to sign up on our site, and you're in. It's not a tough process.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and it's I know we all have often reservations when you go someplace and people want you to sign something, and you have to read whatever it is you're signing, and you're kind of what is this, type of thing. Here you have an opportunity. We're going to be continually, through the grace of Ellie podcast here, being able to have exposure on this. So, we encourage everyone to go out and follow up on some of the information that we're providing to you, and do your research. I mean, this country has found itself to where it's at for a large part because of our own individual apathy throughout our lives in regards to the subject of self-governance, which is important because therein lies all the policies and directives and the laws that are made that affect us. And so, and then, you have the underlying aspect that there's everything has been corrupted. This is what has transpired has happened over eons. The corruption through blackmail and other things is extensive, and people are in positions of doing things, and you know they don't want to be outed, they don't want to be embarrassed, you know, and therein lies where the war is at now, is that we're trying to discern which ones are telling the truth, which ones continue to move the goalposts to hide themselves, if you will, from the score. Um, I wanted to share another little thing that I got from the book. Again, good information. I can only encourage you all to make the purchase. It's well worth it, and share it with your friends and families and things of that nature. But back in the 2014 timeframe, the joint resolution to affirm unity in an interim government was created. And this is a critical piece of legislation that the first Congress was involved in, of the Republic was involved in doing, to ensure throughout the rehabilitation process, and that both houses of the first Congress determined that the status of the re-inhabited Republic was to remain as an interim government while waiting for the majority of the American people to awaken and decide that they want their original republic back. Well, they have to get knowledgeable about it and then go back and question and think, well, wait a minute, so did it get taken from us? Really? Did it really? You know, and it says here a little later, the full and proper representation can only be recognized upon full disclosure of the re-inhabitation of the Republic for the United States of America to all Americans and the free states individually. That is partially what we're trying to do now. We're trying, and have been ever since, is trying to inform and educate. Our method is kind of on the sidelines, and so until we actually, the other side is everybody wants on a lot of issues, when the actual corporate structure or the media sources come in and start putting.
Please mute, guys.
Can you mute it, Grant? Grant, can you? Can you mute your?
Yeah.
Okay, he's muted now. Okay, good.
So
I'm sorry, Bill.
no, that's quite all right. Again, it's, you know, the United States are also free states, you know, until, you know, we all sit back and go, well, when the Trump administration, for the sake of it, then starts to put more and more, and we actually hear him, or through social or other things, start using the terms, analogies of the real republic, you know, then we'll know. But he's dropped lines here and there throughout, you know, his administration, but people aren't connecting the dots. And therein lies, I guess you could also say, for those of you who are familiar with the term Q, and then the aspect of the nons, and that's all part of this military operation that is going on behind the scenes, which for most of the part are not visual to everybody. But the whole QAnon thing, where you can see the drops and things and make the connections, where you have 6, 7, almost, I guess, 8-year deltas where this information was shared, saying this is going to happen, and it never did. But they let people think about it and stew on it and try to connect the dots. And now we're seeing those events happen. And so then that begs the question for the discerning mind: how does that work? How have they been able to do that? Well, that's where you want to, you want to be a little inquisitive, and you want to be a searcher, a seeker, seeking out the truth. But what technology were they using? Any special technology, such as the term, looking glass? Well, what's looking glass? And every time you have different things of that nature, then, if it resonates with you, then do a little deep dive on it. But I would encourage all those who would be listening and whatnot, don't just, because it's nothing you've heard about, it's shocking, to just say, no, that's not happening. That can't be real. Just kind of be calm and say, all right, I already know that there's lots of things that I don't know. So this very well possibly could be, and then go at your own comfort level and just be willing to listen. Let people share stuff with you, and then you think about it and discern about it. I yield.
Yeah, I think now is probably the best or the most critical time that we have to use our discernment, our individual discernment, and ask within. You'll get the answer, that you're looking for. But there is so much, so many things that are trying to distract us right now, and we always look for hopium. Hopium's another thing that Lush is generated from that. You get all hyped up, waiting for a certain date, and then all of a sudden you get let down, and that drops you into those lower frequencies, and that's what they like. So I agree with you. Discernment is very critical at this time. I yield.
Yeah, I think that the whole process is really unfolding in an amazing way, and like you said, a lot of the research we did back when we first saw the Q posts were kind of baffling, and we thought that the time sequence was immediate, that these things were ongoing, they were about to happen. There must be some kind of like looking glass technology, or some sort of time traveling, or either that or just incredible military planning where everything seems to be coming into effect now. I think that, like I was saying earlier, the disruption of the deep state in Venezuela, in Cuba, in Ukraine, in Iran, in Israel, the destruction of this deep state is so, it's such a massive, massively ingrained organization. They're so deeply embedded in every aspect of our life, from the medicine to the education to everything, to big pharma and the media. To extricate ourselves from this force, we back in the day, I mean, at least I did when I was looking at the Q post. I was like, okay, man, let's get on it. Just arrest these people and let's get on with it. But it is such a colossal, the layers of evil that have taken hold here they're just so deep. And like I'm watching Trump now eliminating some of the spokesmen that he had. What's the one that he's working on? Kristi Noem, that he continually lets people take the spotlight, and then he exposes them as being part of this deep state, and to take down layer after layer after layer. But it's so exciting to be involved, and to know that there's something you can actually do besides, traveling down the rabbit holes has become Danielle and I do it like we're always on it. If we're not building something on the land, we're checking out, we're sharing posts. But the point is that if you've done your research and you understand what's going on now, you understand that we're living in a world of lies. We're living in a matrix that is where everything is hidden, where truth is so well hidden, as Bill said, that the thing that you can do besides, you can get on a milk carton and scream to the people, but it probably won't get you very far. We now have, and this is new to us, we now have social networking. We now have an internet. We've been given this. I heard Majestic 12 was responsible for unleashing the internet against the deep state. But we have a way now to talk person to person. And we, the people, need, it is so important that we rise up and actually do something, which is really very simple. We're not asking people to, sharpen bayonets or, get your,
Not yet.
We're not yet. We're not doing that. We're just saying, just register with the Republic. I know in my I'm in Mojave County in Arizona, that the people, we are taking, Arizona didn't have a republic because Arizona was formed in the early 1900s. So we don't go back that far. But the people that I'm joining with in reestablishing this local republic, in the beginning, they're very scared about the government reaching back. And I think that I don't think they have that much power anymore. I think once we recognize the where the matrix is, the boundaries of the matrix, and how these people are all involved, and they're really not very connected, and they're not as Q always says, these people are stupid. That all you have to do is join the Republic. I don't think it's a scary thing. At least I don't feel at all scared about it. It's just something that we need to. It's just a simple thing. Like you said, we're not rising up yet, but I think that the White Hats are doing an amazing job to keep violence out of this by getting to the root causes, like what they're doing in Iran, by eliminating this deep state tyrannical so-called Islamic regime. I think it's just a deep state operation, really. And the people of Persia have stood up and said that we don't want any part of this. We don't like Sharia law. We're not interested. The deep state is so good at hiding what they're doing, just like perpetuating this endless war. The people of Israel have just been convinced themselves that the war is going on forever. There's nothing we can do. Well, Trump is ending that. He's ending the war. He's ending the cause. And we're coming into a place where we, the people, have to show the initiative to grab the reins and move forward. And the Republic is such an incredible opportunity. So I encourage any veterans who are listening out there, please join up. We need you. I don't know which states are lacking people, but this is, this is a movement that started with President Lincoln. I mean, the whole Q movement, this is not like a new thing. We've been fighting this evil satanic regime for hundreds of years, really. These people came, I don't know exactly when they took control, but it sounds like 1776 or sometime around then, the early 1800s. They took over all the banks. They took over a world that was so beautiful. And if you think back, like I'm kind of in like a pioneer mode. I live out in the desert, and I'm building a house, and it's such a beautiful life without the matrix. So I encourage everyone, we want to step back in time, but with great technology. So like Danielle and I, we live out here in the middle of nowhere, but we have Starlink, and we are on the internet, 24/7. And so this is just such an exciting time to be alive. And so I encourage everyone to just join up, and it's easy. It's pretty easy process. Just click on the website, join up, volunteer, and let's get the show on the road. Let's get the elections happening. Let's get these banksters and these media clowns out of power, and resume as we the people.
Yep. And I think you're doing a great job, Ellie. I think you're the blueprint of the perfect patriot, and what you're doing, and your attitude and your knowledge that you've gained over all these years about this cabal. And you're right. It's kind of like the black goo took it all over, and we're trying to clean up the black goo now, but it gets worse and worse as we go along here. I think we're going to find out the Epstein files have exposed a lot more than just child trafficking and all the kid fun they were having. I think people are starting to realize the chemtrails and stuff. And if you're not asking yourself what's coming down from those chemtrails, you're in trouble. But it's not good, and it all plays into their whole agenda. A lot of what we're finding in the chemtrails ties to the biological weapon. And they work together. It actually, the aluminum works with the mercury that's in the jabs and causes nanotechnology to be created right in your body. So our people that have taken that, it's growing inside of them every day. The more they breathe in, the more it grows. And there's things that you can do to help that. We do actually have a wire health channel that all the patriots contribute with good medical information. Patriots helping patriots. And there's a lot of these people that contribute that, they have taken the jab, and now they're fighting against it with some of what they've learned, and they're sharing it with people. So that's another good reason to join the Republic. It is our little club. They have their club, and we have our club now. So I yell.
I'd like to share again just some little excerpts from the book I shared earlier. This was off of page 296. It says in 2014, leadership met with General Paul Vallée and his staff. Initially, an initial 10-minute meeting expanded into a 4.5-hour session. So obviously, what the leadership had to share about the Republic, what he was aware, garnered their interest big time, and he wanted further things. Then on another page there, back in 2005, let's go back before 2014 a little bit. General Vallée formed the organization, quote, Stand Up America, with a goal to restore the American Republic. So he was already involved in that and knew information and stuff from the military side of the house. And then another excerpt on page 288, American Republic is very different than the commercial process conducted in the corporate, all caps, United States, where all things are judged by money. In the Republic, all things are judged in law. So the corporate structure, I mean, you think about it, how many of us, okay, I want stocks and bonds in this company or that. And so you go buy stocks and you buy all this stuff and you're looking for the corporation and have big successes and make all this money so that your stocks will rise. And then these are all in your 401ks and all the other kind of stuff. Okay. So it's all about the money and how successful, but it's tied to the economics, etc. But that doesn't mean how it's being done in wage is lawful. We've already found out through history that there are numerous things of deception and devious types of things. What is it? Bernie, what was his last name?
Madoff.
Madoff. Yeah. Oh, he squirreled away a lot of stuff and he tricked some people and people lost a lot of their money. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily uncommon. What's going on? It just hasn't been caught. And so therein lies again. I've shared with other folks before about human behavior. A lot of it just comes down to individual behaviors, and it goes to ethics, values, and morals of you as an individual spiritual being here, what your choices are. And so hopefully what we're seeing happen, which I believe is the case, my belief is the case, is that retribution for those behaviors, accountability for those, have been taking place behind the scenes in many cases that we're not privy to see for probably legitimate reasons. And they are going to be presented to the American public at some point in the future a little more and more and more, such that we'll have a sense of feeling that the bad guys aren't getting away with it. The behavior and the mindsets and the control aspects of what they've been doing, which is unacceptable to the general loving people of the country and of the world for that matter, because this is not just the United States. This is a worldwide thing.
Yep.
And that accountability is taking place. And, for those folks, you made your bed, now you're going to lay in it. And if it by chance includes a noose at the end of the road, well, then that's probably what it's going to take. But people are going to have to realize it. And ultimately, and I'm probably most of the listening audience here in your group, Eli, who are following you, they're aware it comes down to this is a war. This is God's war against evil and against Satan. Okay? And his creation, which has been denigrated and controlled for so long here on this planet in this dimension, that he's taken it back. And this is all foretold, that this was going to happen. So do not fear is what I would say. I say you just build your foundation, continue. And if you've strayed from your foundation of your belief in God, the one great creator for love, and Jesus Christ, his son, who came here and died for everybody, paid the price, get back to it. Get back to it.
Amen. It's all good. Yeah. Paul, what do you think? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I just want to throw out a few things out there. You know, we've heard that we've got over 1.3 million sealed indictments right now, and part of NESARA, when it's implemented, that's when this government is interimly stood up, and that's what we're getting ready to do. I think we can kind of see that Iraq right now is under blackout right now. There's a reason for that. Hopefully, it's a positive reason. I hope it is. And what's happening in Iran. So there's some key things that are happening that might manifest into us being a little bit closer than we think. I yield.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I just see so many really miracles. I mean, the White House are just so full of unbelievable moves. This whole thing with Iran, just it and with Venezuela, to end with the cartels and with really evil in general. It's the problem is that we as innocent good people of the world, I think I can include myself, but the we can't even conceive of the level of deception and the level of evil that these people, they said my partner told me that they're coming out with another like 47,000 pages of the Epstein files. It's unbelievable how sick and how difficult, and it's very difficult for us to understand this level of evil. But I think with Q and with the White Hats and with work like that you guys are doing and the Republic, that we are going to reclaim the world and make it the beautiful, the home for godliness, for the divine spirit, for doing wonderful things, for building houses, for having children, for living a life without fear, and being able to create the things that you came here to create. It's very exciting for me to see this unfolding of the golden age.
Nope, I agree.
So I guess we'll just wrap it up for now. And Grant, I'm sorry we didn't get to hear from you, but hopefully we'll be speaking with you in a little while. I'll be doing a lifestyle channel at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But I'm gonna try to catch a little bit of this beautiful day, and I hope everyone here spend a few minutes outside, and even I don't know with the chemtrails, just enjoy the beauty and the bounty. I was telling Bill this morning that I had the good opportunity, or the good fortune. I ordered 2 little blueberry bushes for my fruit garden. I planted all these fruit trees up here, and it's so exciting to work with Gaia, with the planet, with the feeling that you're part of creation, and that's really what this really comes down to. The evil ones want to remove us from creation, but your efforts are all bringing us back to the garden, and it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah. The only thing I would offer, Ellie, is that we all need help, and so I would just encourage again those that are part of your podcast, that are the listeners and the audience, and I thank you for doing that for him, would be to do your part and try to help us, and that all that is join. And join to be a member of it, and it doesn't have any other obligations on you, not unless through your further research you decide and choose to step up to a position of a little more responsibility. Other than that, just join, give us the numbers such that we can then do what we need to do and move forward. But it takes people to step across the boundaries, sometimes of uncertainty, and
you guys still there?
To do that. So
I can't hear you.
John. It's as simple as can be. Just join. Just go to republicforusa.org, join up, and let's get the show on the road. All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much, Bill. It's a pleasure to get to hang with you guys, and an honor, really an honor to hang with veterans and people that are really dedicated to changing our world for the better.
And to all your listeners, I salute you for taking the time to listen to our words.
It's my pleasure. It's really an honor. Okay, so we'll see you guys next week, and everybody should have a beautiful day.
Take care. God bless.